Long before Simba lived the young lion cub, Mufasa. And when a great flood separates him from his parents, he finds a new home in a new pride. One that doesn't exactly accept him. The one lion cub that did, though, was Taka, and the two become as close as brothers. Years pass, and when their pride is threatened, Mufasa and Taka are thrown into hiding. While on the run, though, the trust between one another will be put to the test. This is Mufasa, the Lion King. Mufasa the Lion King is a new film from Disney's live-action movie branch. I really don't know what else to call it. It doesn't really have a designated name. It is also the follow-up film to the 2019 smash hit remake of The Lion King. Personally, I really wasn't a fan of that live-action remake. It's that movie where it felt like everything wrong with the live-action remakes was beyond prevalent. It was the exact same movie, almost beat for beat, but with the life just sucked out of it. Needless to say, I was a bit annoyed when this was the highest grossing animated film for 5 whole years. Thank you, Inside Out 2, for righting that horrible wrong. But a movie like that isn't going to make as much money as it did and Disney not capitalize on it, so obviously we now have a follow-up. I say follow-up because the term prequel doesn't really make sense because this film also works as a pseudo-sequel too. And while we definitely didn't need a Mufasa origin story, Mufasa the Lion King is still substantially better than the 2019 remake. I like the characters and the voice actors, and the story's solid, but it's just kinda dull to look at. And that says a lot because this film looks substantially better than the 2019 film, but it still lacks any form of character. Now, the late James Earl Jones is iconic as Mufasa. So iconic that was the only role not recast for the remake. And for good reason, he's fantastic as the character in both of those films even. But playing the young mid-sized Mufasa in this film is Aaron Pierre, and he really manages to make the character his own. I quite enjoyed the story Mufasa had throughout this film, and Aaron Pierre really delivers as the young Mufasa. Kevin Harrison Jr. is also pretty good as Taka, or, spoiler alert, Scar. Although, to be honest, I was not into his story as much as I was Mufasa's. I just felt like his turn to resentment happened a bit too quickly. I would have never expected Scar to be a bros before hoes kind of guy, but this movie confirms that. And I guess I should mention this too. Mads Mikkelsen is also in this film. And he does exactly what you hire Mads Mikkelsen to do in your movie. Play the bad guy. And he's good, but I'm sure he's getting tired of being typecast as the bad guy. I was quite disappointed to hear Keith David early on in this film, and then never again. There are plot reasons for that, but he could have played this bad guy and it'd have been awesome. Now, a Mufasa origin story is something I definitely think we didn't need. And even after watching the film, I still don't think we need it. However, I am more than willing to give these live-action Disney movies with pre-existing characters a chance, as long as they're not regurgitating the same story I already know back to me in a dull and lifeless manner. I can only handle one of those things at once. Kinda why I'm not anti-Cruella. It's not just a remake of 101 Dalmatians, so I gotta give it credit there. I like the journey he goes on to become the noble king he is. Although there are plenty of lame prequel moments in this film. I'm not kidding, there's a "aw dude, Pride Rock" moment. You ever want to know where Rafiki's stick came from? Well, too bad, you're gonna find out. This is a problem with a lot of prequels. Here, though, it just feels incredibly more forced and silly. The way Mufasa's origin story is told, though, is definitely on the creative side, too. The film has little interludes of present-day Rafiki telling the story to Simba's daughter Kiara and Timon and Pumbaa. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen were a standout in the 2019 film, and they continued that here, even if it's at the expense of a longer runtime and not much plot movement. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Everything up to this point sounds good, and honestly, you'd be right. The voice acting and the story of the 2019 remake was pretty good too, I can't deny it that. But movies are a visual media, and I want my visuals to be good, but maybe not this good? I don't like complaining about good CGI in a movie, but I can't help but feel like This film is applicable to that. The visual effects of this film are fantastic. There is no way to deny the film that credit. But I will say the amazing effects don't help these characters stand out from one another. This is mainly in regards to the lions, because, Rafiki and Zazu, they're a monkey and a bird. That's all we have of them in the movie. And to their credit, they're animated quite well. The lions, however, the characters we focus mostly on, are not particularly that visually interesting to watch. To the film's credit, there are plenty of moments where they are much more emotive than the 2019 film, but also there are plenty of moments where it feels like I'm watching a nature documentary. The beauty about animation, whether it be 2D or 3D animation, is you can do anything with the character. Theoretically, you should be able to do the same thing with a CGI character, but not when your head's so far up your ass you want to make a live-action Lion King movie. Because there are so many moments in this film where I think it would just be better if it wasn't constricted to a live-action setting, and that is specifically where the musical numbers come into play. Now, this is the film Lin-Manuel Miranda went to work on instead of working on Moana 2. The music of the movie is fine, I guess, and I'm sure some kids will have certain songs stuck in their heads. I still wish Keith David was voicing the bad guy, so he got to sing the bad guy song in this film. I'm still a bit hung up on that. There are at least 3 musical numbers in this film, I think, where it's just them walking. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in my review for Wicked. Musicals can be a lot of things, but a boring one shouldn't even exist. I say this with full confidence. Had this been completely 2D animated, Disney would not have known what to do with all the money. If it wasn't for the fact that it would probably get shot down immediately by Disney, I would love to see one of those reanimated projects done with this film. Because I like the characters, I like the story, I like the voice performances, and the music's okay. It's just kind of boring to watch. It's like having Texas Roadhouse butter on a rubber boot. So, if you're looking for a movie about 2 brothers with a bond like no other, but due to a tyrannical leader, their bond will be tested, leading to a falling out, watch Transformers 1. That film is great. And then afterwards, I guess you can watch this. It's okay. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Until next time, I'm Quentin Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic.